G'day YouTube, my name's Lance and welcome to Bundy Bear's Shed. Well, the weather report. Look, it was only got down to 11 overnight and should be 25 today. It's Monday morning and this has been the first day in the shed this week really. I did a little bit yesterday afternoon but not much, but we've had some good friends, Jody and Dave, stay at our place, and yeah, they come in on Friday afternoon, and so yeah, we've been having a few beer and bickies and buggering around and just having a good time, riding motorbikes with the kids and just general buggering about, and had my young bloke and his kids over for dinner on Saturday night, seeing Jody, and then we're here and Jody and Dave, and so yeah, look, it's been pretty good. But through the week, I'll take you for a bit of a walk on the multi-power tractor here later, and through the week, I got the back end all assembled. I got the axles in. I still have to do the brakes, but I got the axles in. I got the axles all set properly. That was a bit of a muck around, but look, it's really good now. I'm pleased with that. And that sound, the colour sort of looks dark on here again, doesn't it? For some reason, I must have bumped something on this bloody camera. Something's going on. But not to worry, we'll have a look at that after the stew, I suppose. We'll just see. Yeah, sometimes when I put the camera in the port, in its package, yeah, I might have bumped something or buggered the colour up or something like that, but it just looks a little bit dark, so that's all right. Doing the filming here, I go through a shitload of batteries, and probably 8 a day most times. That's not too hard if we're having a bit of a go, and I thought I'd buy these USB rechargeable ones, and out of the 8 that I bought, one of them's no good, so we had to send that back. Oh, well, they didn't want it back, and they didn't want to send me another one. They said, oh, we'll give you so many dollars back. I said, no, I bought the bastards because I wanted them. But now this morning I go to use them again in the microphone setup and all that, and I got another one that's not working now. So I think we'll just chuck them away and end up using the Duracell or the... I only ever use the Duracell or Energizers, the alkaline ones. They seem to last a little bit longer with it. So, but anyway, that's just how it goes. I've got the extension housing on the multi-power tractor here, and my friend Gordon had sent me that shaft to allow the extension housing with a 135, so it's a 148 shaft. He got that to me this week, so that front part's on, and with the back end sitting back on stands ready to go, it's time to have a look at the hydraulic pump here. Now, this pump, this is the inlet tube coming up here, and it should have a little blanking plug there, and I'm buggered if I can find what I've done with that. And must have popped out, and I've cleaned the floor. Actually, I could clean the floor a bit better, but I'll have a look and see if I can find that. This pump here, this is the standard multi-power, the 135 multi-power filter, and look at that, and the hydraulics, I was doing my slashing with this tractor before we stripped it, if you recall, and they were lifting, no trouble at all. So God, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? They must have a lot of room in there for that filter to get blocked and still work. I couldn't notice any problem with the hot hydraulics lifting the slash or anything like that. We're presuming the multi-power pump works on this, and the reason we're presuming the multi-power pump is working on it is that the people I bought the tractor off, they actually got the multi-power disconnected because they were on hilly country and they were pulling vegetable trailers, and they had a few different people using the multi-power tractor, so they actually got it locked off, and just for safety's sake more than anything, but they said it did work, it was going okay. And if you recall, early in the series on the multi-power, we've done that multi-power box up from one end to another, so we've got high hopes of it working. So I'm presuming that this top pump here is good, so and that's all we can do at this stage. It's no big deal really if it's not, but they're about $1,000 to buy probably, the pump, and so I'd certainly like to use it if it's usable. The 188 multi-power pump, I have that sitting on the ground there where I had this the other day, and it doesn't have that hole there at all. And but I could use that, but I have no idea if it works. I think it might be a bigger pump. Oh no, I think it's the same one, with the extra sections coming in here. And but look, I don't know if that works or not. The people that I bought the tractor off, they never ran the tractor, and they did just the same as I did. They actually bought the tractor and got what they wanted off it, and that was it. So we'll have to see with that. I could probably pop the back plate off the 188 pump and just put the back plate on this one, and that would be problem solved. But what we're going to do today is, and probably as part of the stew, we're going to have a look in this front drive section here. Now, this intermediate gear here, there's a shaft there with a heap of needle rollers on it, and they are known for just wearing out. Your main pump drive here, your PDO drive comes in here and out the back to drive your PDO. I've put the plug in the back there. I've actually machined that housing up and put the plug in. I can show you that today. And so with this gear, oh look, it's this big, and the next little idler's this big, and then this fella's this big. So it really gears that pump up. So and just the auxiliary pump. The Scotch yoke pump here with the pistons that go back and forth and rattle. I have no need for all of that, and I may just pull the pistons out of that. The pump's okay, but I just got nothing for that pump to do with no linkage on. And if I ever strip it again and pop the top on, put a top back on it, well, yeah, it won't be any big deal just to pop the pump back in and do that. So if I was doing the rear linkage, well, I probably would want to make sure that the pump was okay anyway. So, but yeah, look, just to get just for a bit of mechanicking on the stew, we're going to undo this front plate here. We're going to look where this valve will sit, so as the valve in here is closed, so that any oil that this pump here draws up to it is filtered. So with the filter here, we're going to put a new filter sitting on the top there, and with the new filter there, we don't want it actually sucking from back in here somewhere. So I'll probably make a little spacer or something for the rollers in here, and we'll hold that valve to where we know it's not going to be pumping any oil, but the valve will close the port. We'll probably pull the pistons out. We'll leave the chambers in. We need the main chassis on the pump here to hold everything in to mount the auxiliary and the multi-power pump on. The auxiliary services pump, it's not going to be used either. We're only doing the multi-power. So, so with with everything working with that block, the filter should be good anyway. So I'll go handheld for a second. I'll take you for a quick look at the tractor, what I've been doing, just to just so you can catch up on that, and then we'll probably set up, and I'll just pop that apart and we'll have a bit of a look in there. Okay, so there's the gearbox. I've got the back housing, that extension housing, back onto it now. That's a good thing. If I come down here, yep, you can just see in there, there's a new needle bearing in here for this PDO support shaft. This is the new shaft that Gordon got me. I've put that collar on. I've actually used the 188 one. It's probably heavier. I won't need a, yeah, I won't be rotary hoeing or ripping for that torque tube to break. Now, right down in there, we have the pinion shaft, and under that we have the main PDO sticking through there. And when we come around the back here, we have a blanking plate I've turned up there. So I shortened the PDO, and we've put a brand new bearing there. So that shaft is there to support the hydraulic pump. And you can see where I write whatever shim I put in each side actually gets written on the housing as I go, just so when I measure my end float, my axle end float, I know I can just pop this one off or that one off and pull a 0.61 of a millimetre shim off or something like that. So it's a pretty low day for much happening in the workshop today, but we are going to whiz across, and I'll just pop this pump apart and have a bit of a look at that. Okay, just as we start filming for the day, the shed starts to make noise, so that's just how it is. Alright, so what we need to do to start with is just pop this little clip off the rivet here. Then this lever comes off out of the way like that, and that's on the end of your control valve. Now what happens here normally when you don't really want it to is that there's a couple of tiny little rollers and a pin, and they come off when you just don't really want it to. And that little pin must be burred, you know. Normally they just fly off. Okay, so there's the little rollers. They've got a little bit of wear on them. And what I've been thinking of doing is, with this pin that goes through, once we work out where the control valve is, I can turn up a little retainer and just hold this at a one set mark. So we'll just pop this front housing off. And by popping this front housing off, there's a couple of things that are going to happen. One of them, this filter manifold here, is going to drop away, so this can come down, then the front can come off the pump, and we can have a look at the drive. That's very worn down in there. Anyway, I suppose the tractor's getting on a bit, like me, getting on a bit. Apparently when you buy an aftermarket pump now, they all come with this, and you get a blanking plug with that. But mine would have had one. I just would have had it checking things out. It's probably popped out somewhere. This has a later pressure control on it too, so you'll notice there's no relief valve sitting here, where a 35 or something like that, without that response control, and that would have a relief valve there. Hey, there's me drop. Probably one of many yet, but anyway, that's all right. That's how you know my channel, you're watching the original series, because I'm dropping shit. Okay, so that's that little rivet that holds the lever on here. Look at that. That's the filter housing. So that's got that delicious looking stuff. Even though it looks clean here, that's down in that manifold. So and all over the control valve. So now this pipe, that pipe just sits down into this housing here, and there's a little shoulder there that sits on. pop this around here, just like magic. This drive comes apart. So there's the main gear, the main drive gear. Can you see? Yep, I'm in frame. Hey, I'm on a bit of a roll here. Now, one of the bad parts about this job is that there's no meat on these nuts here. And actually, I probably should grind a socket down or something to suit, because whoever's been in here, probably Laurie or someone, there's an Allen key here we need to get off for the backing plate, but just to check the drive, we only need to pull this front off. So we can loosen these and this will probably tell us whether we need to order any more parts or whether we're right to go just for the moment. No, that's the problem. Okay, I'm going to modify a socket to do this. I don't want to wreck it anymore. I'll do that and I'll be back in a moment. Okay, I've actually got a socket. I'd forgotten that I had modified one ages ago. So there you go. We're just having too much junk, isn't it? Man. I think someone's Loctited this on by the feel of it. Hopefully that holds it. And that's probably out of frame for you, but that's where we are over there with all the junk. Oh, geez. See if that makes a difference. There we go. Okay, I've got this screw undone. Some bugger's got it all rounded off and shitty looking. And we'll pop these two off. And these ones screw into the pump itself, so I see one's hammered shit out of this too. We have spaces there, there should be one in here. Now, to get this off, we actually have to undo this little circlip here, and that takes the multi-power pump, or the multi-power drive gear off the multi-power pump. There we go, just a little fella. So this gear doesn't look too bad. I don't know if I can show you that. Yep, look, that's looking okay. Now, this is where things go everywhere. This little shaft here. Oh, this is good. Oh, no, it's not. The hardening's starting to go on there. So that's toast. Gear still looks good. Yeah, look, the gear's looking real good. It's just that shaft's crook. And yeah, look, that happens. That's it must have a lot of drive. You know, the gearing from going here to that little one seems to sort them out pretty well. But you can just see the hardening just starting to lift there. So we're not going to put up with that. All right, that's about it. I may pop the other pump apart and see if it's got a good shaft. If it has, I may use that. Apart from that, I'm not going to pop this apart just yet. I mainly wanted to see this, and once I can get that sorted out, and I'll have a good look for this pump, this blank off plug, and when I get a bit of that organised, yeah, we'll come back and have a yarn, and I'll show you what we're up to there. But look, that's probably going to do the stew this week. There's not an awful lot going on, just, oh well, there's a fair bit going on. I just had a party time. So there's not a lot happening. And oh, Plasma Dave will be interested that I had a hangover. First hangover in years and years and years, and Saturday morning I had a bit of a one, so there you go. That'll make you happy. Okay, thanks everyone, we'll catch you next week.